guys, it's Greg from the Cutting Mechanics, and this is my tutorial on the closed side horizontal cut. So I'm going to jump right into it, and I want to go over some of the steps that I took when I was first learning this cut, and some of the things that really helped me to get a better grasp on this cut. So working from my feet all the way to my shoulders and to my arms and to my hands, I want to go over all the steps that I took initially. One of the things that I found really helpful for beginning to engage my whole body was to actually take 2 steps when I'm doing this cut. So let me show you the footwork first and then kind of what my hips are doing along with that. I would start off with my feet in kind of what I thought of as a fighting stance from my martial arts days. My feet are kind of pointing forward and my knees are bent with kind of a 50-50 weight distribution between each leg. And my feet aren't really close together, they're a little bit spread out here so that I feel nice and comfortable in this stance. The next thing I would do was bring my feet up together and my knees would bend a little more. My feet come together and then I would step out to 10-30. As I stepped out to 10-30, I would step into a horse stance and then I would finish the cut by turning into what I think of as a forward bow. So my back leg turns and that engages my back hip to turn, and also my shoulders then turn with it as well. So as my hips turn, well, for me, my hips turn a little bit earlier than my shoulders, but very slightly though. 1 and then 2. So again, for the footwork, I would start off in this kind of neutral bow right here with a 50-50 weight distribution, my feet pointing kind of forward and a little bit 45. It's really up to you though. I think the really important thing though is that your knees are bent though. The next thing, my feet come together. As they do, I lower my head slightly. I step out to 10-30. My head may lower a little bit, but the main thing I don't want to do is come up though. So I step out into a horse stance and then I finish up by shifting. And as I did this more and more, it eventually became more and more smooth, so it was more like this then as I would do it, instead of being steps. And so one last time here, from a neutral, feet come together, out, and then turn. Now, if you ask any cutter what the 2 fundamental things are for cutting, the 2 things that really help to create a good cutter, it would be more than likely edge alignment and engaging your entire body, and that hip turn is really a big step in kind of engaging your entire body, at least for me, when I was beginning to learn. So, let me go over now what my shoulders are doing now as I do this. My sword comes out directly in front of me. I would come up and I would bring my sword back and touch the mune to my deltoid or my bicep, right around that area. The reason why I did this was because it would help me to kind of get my shoulders pulled back a little bit so I could really engage once I stepped out. But the other thing I really liked about it too is it kind of worked as a mnemonic device in a little way. As soon as I'd feel that sword touch my shoulder, I would think, time to get my edge alignment engaged, and then step out and then turn. Now, as you can see with that turn too, my shoulders really don't have much of a choice but to turn with my hips. Otherwise it gets a little bit awkward. If I turn my hips and then my shoulders aren't really turning, it's a little bit weird. But if I turn and just let my body go, I can get a nice clean strike on there and my edge can stay relatively level. Now, let's go over it again real quick. I step up, my sword comes up. As my feet come together, my knees bend a little bit. My mune touches right here against the side of my arm, indicating now I have to have good edge alignment. I step out to 10-30. My hips go into a neutral stance, I turn, and then everything kind of unwinds as I step out. 1, 2, and I complete the cut. Now, one of the really important things too, once you begin to get into more complex cutting, is to allow the cut to pass cleanly through the target and not begin your second cut halfway through the target, because that will make it kind of tend to jump. So going back to the basics and really drilling that down will become very important later on, and it should break a lot of those bad habits. Now, for what my hands are doing, for me at least, I have my pinky and my ring finger here holding, and these are really my main supports. These 2 fingers here support those, but most of the work is being done with these 2 fingers here, and then my thumb wraps over, and I keep kind of a loose grip on it until I actually engage. So here, step out, and then I engage. Now, I try, for me at least, I tip my blade down just a little bit because I have a tendency to raise my blade a little bit here. So I actually come in and I angle it down just slightly because I know that it's going to come up a little bit. And so small little compensations like that are really kind of a personal thing from person to person, but I think that compensating for those though does help out a lot, depending on whatever that problem is. Don't just get stuck with doing the same thing over and over again. Adjust it to how your body works. So one more time, I come up, touch, my feet come together here, I bend my legs a little bit. I keep my back straight though, you don't want to bend over. Back straight, step out, engage, complete the cut. So let's go outside and let's take a look at how it looks on bottles.